Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the last day of June. It is June 30th, 2020. We are now halfway through the year, and what a year it has been. Tomorrow will be July, and starting the second half of the year, let's hope it's a little bit better, right? So today we have Dr. Cindy Trice on here from reliefrover.com with some really great insights of what she's been seeing. So welcome, Cindy.
Thanks so much for having me. This is super fun.
It is super fun, right? You get to see other people during this time. So first off, maybe nobody knows who Cindy is or Relief Rover. So I'm going to fly off the screen and we're going to show your website and you're going to tell us a little bit about who you are. So what you tell us next makes sense to other people. Deal?
Gotcha.
Okay. Perfect. So tell us a little bit about you and your passion here.
So I am a 2004 UC Davis model of veterinarian, and actually being a vet was my second career. But I've spent the majority of my time in practice as a relief practitioner. I did an internship. I spent a little bit of time as an associate, did relief, went back to associate, and then back to relief. But the majority of my time has been as a relief practitioner, and I have loved it. It's been a way for me to really love my profession and my life at the same time, and to serve other veterinary practitioners, because I am someone who just loves the veterinary profession, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I realized as I had this sort of evolution as a relief practitioner. First, I was just going out, getting gigs, getting paid to go to the clinic and, cover a shift. And then I had this mind shift where I realized, oh, I'm a business to business service provider. I actually have my own business here. And it just never really occurred to me that that's what I was as a relief veterinarian. And that mindset helped me sort of shift into how I approached my job as a relief veterinarian. And I really started to recognize that the clinic is my client. And part of what I do to support that clinic is to take care of pet owners and pets, but my true client is the clinic, and that my job as a relief practitioner is to serve them. And then I took that a little bit farther, and I started looking around for resources where for relief practitioners who really wanted to be their own business. And there wasn't a lot out there. There was a little bit. There was this great book called How to Be a Flex Vet by a woman named Karen Smith, who is a veterinarian. And so she had some resources for relief veterinarians. But other than that, there wasn't a lot out there for relief vets. And I came up with this idea to start a platform to support relief practitioners and to help connect them to employers that need them. And so Relief Rover was born in July of 2018. So
wonderful. Yay. Okay, so that's your platform that you're viewing the world through. And tell us about, since March, what you've been seeing out there.
So COVID, of course, has affected all of us in the whole world in so many different ways. And I do feel like there was this evolution. And I honestly, at first, I didn't catch on exactly right away about how it was going to affect a Relief Rover and how it was going to affect relief vets. And then I had a Relief Rover member reach out to me. She texted me and she said, "Hey, Cindy, I'm thinking about canceling on some of my relief shifts because the hospitals are not practicing safe protocols." And she was in Seattle. And this was when things were like, it was everyone was talking about Seattle. No one was talking about anywhere else in the country.
Right.
And so I'm in Florida. And so I had, I was watching the news, but I little bit had this disconnect about what was going on. And I suddenly realized, oh, this is going to be an issue for relief practitioners. And sure enough, it was. So the first phase I felt like of dealing with this, the relationship between relief practitioners and hospitals, was handling the cancellations. And those cancellations went both ways. Practices were canceling on relief vets because they were, cutting down their hours, cutting down their staff. And of course, relief vets are the first to go.
Right.
But relief vets were struggling because of that, because they rely on that income to service their student loan debt, to, pay for their business expenses and to pay for their life. And so that was a real hardship on them. And so we talked through that. But then there was the flip side, like my friend, who some of the relief practitioners were canceling on their practices because either perhaps they were someone in a high risk category, or they had a loved one that they lived with who was high risk. It wasn't worth it to them, or the practices weren't practicing safe protocols yet at that point.
Right.
And so initially I worked really hard with blog posts and things like that, and communicating with my members to try to help people understand how to professionally handle those cancellations, whichever direction they go in, remembering that after all this is over, we are going to need each other again. So we didn't want these relationships to break down.
Correct. Yep.
So then there was phase 2, where we got into, okay, now I've lost my job, or jobs, multiple jobs. And I did a survey of my members and found that 50% lost at 50% or more of their jobs.
Wow.
So there was a lot of work lost for relief vets. So then we got together some resources, some vet partners members, to help us understand the CARES Act as it related to independent contractor vets. So what did it mean to get these loans and to get PPP, and how could that be applied with it for an independent contractor who doesn't have employees? So then we got in that phase where we were working our way through the benefits. And then we switched to a third phase. And to me, this was the more fun phase and more interesting phase. In how can we pivot? What can we do as relief practitioners to provide even more value for our practice clients? How can we look at this differently? And several things come to mind. And I think this is still a phase we're in, and a phase we're developing, is telehealth. So relief practitioners can make great telehealth virtual vets for the practices that they work for. And this can allow the practices, because everyone got on board with telehealth, right?
Right.
With all the COVID, but the practitioners working in the clinic, it was still hard to navigate the drop-offs and the curbside and all of this, and handle telehealth calls. So relief veterinarians are very well situated to handle those virtual calls, drive people into the clinic when necessary, or take care of those pet owners when it's something that can be handled virtually, and represent your clinic directly, right? Which is a value, such a value to that clinic, so that it isn't these pet owners who are demanding this type of access to veterinarians, right?
Right.
They're not just getting some random vet from who knows where. They're getting someone who is directly representing that practice. And so I've been telling practices, hey, don't overlook your relief vets. They're a great resource for this. And I've been telling relief vets, talk to your practices about it. Let them know you will do this for them. Help them set it up. So there's also digging deep and thinking of, what services do I offer? How can I get in there and help? Perhaps you have special expertise in behavior, or you have special expertise in rehab or dentistry or surgeries, or whatever the case may be. As these practices open up and start serving their clients again more and more, which they already are, don't forget, you can bring some added value to that practice, and you can revenue share with that practice. That allows the practice to open up their service offerings and satisfy their pet owners, and it allows the relief veterinarian to practice in things they're passionate about, and also increase their income. And then we had ideas for consulting and mentoring and things like that, to just really think, what do you bring to the table as a relief vet, and how can you both enhance your client, the practice, enhance their service offerings, and enhance your own? And I think there's a ton of room for growth in this area. So
I think, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head though, because we were talking about before this how hospitals are getting busier, right? I see that in my own clientele and talking about others in the industry and other vet partner members and things like that. Busy, right? And part of that busy is the new protocols, because sometimes it makes, the whole process longer. But there's just also a sheer volume that's showing up on their doorsteps for multiple reasons. But if, maybe the hospital doesn't have time to seek solutions. So, right? They just don't even think, like they don't even have a moment to think. And then they go home and have their personal lives, and then they probably just face plant into bed. They don't have time to think, right? Because they're just on the treadmill of just staying afloat. So that if your relief vets go forward and say, hey, I can be a solution for you. I'm ready made. You don't have to train me. I've already worked in your hospital before, so I understand your hospital, I understand your protocols and what your methods are. I can be a solution to a problem you're having. That may be just a quick conversation then, right? Because they're like, I didn't even think about that. You're right. That could really help with telehealth,
Yes, exactly. And it can help with other things. I mean, relief practitioners can help these practices that are wanting to add on new services and things like that, and they don't have the time. Like you said, they don't have the time to think. They don't have the time to research it. We have worked in multiple practices. We've worked with multiple iterations of different similar technologies. We can help you we know your practice. We can help you research and figure out what will work for your practice. And that's another way, hire a relief vet to be a consultant if you're searching to add on some service and you just don't have the time to research it, because they may already have experience with it.
Right. And now that a lot of this is virtual, right? You don't probably necessarily need to have a person physically in your zip code to help with this. Like if it's a consultant sort of situation or even a telehealth situation, they can be anywhere, So your membership base doesn't have to be physically there to assist anybody in the United States or Canada, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool because now they have a whole, I don't know, the word that popped in my head was library of people to help them, like little books of knowledge right on a shelf. That's kind of how like the image that was popped in my head. But yeah.
Exactly. And so I said vet partners, I did a blog post on vet partners. I hope to have an article in today's veterinary business just to remind practices this is an underutilized resource. Relief vets are unrecognized for what they have to offer. And I think it's unrecognized by both relief vets and practices. So I just think we need to bring awareness and people need to think outside the box. And there's a lot of talent out there that can help problem solve.
Awesome. Well, we're going to leave it on that note because empowering hospitals with extra help seems like a really good thing to me. So you guys are a solution to maybe some stress and problems. Speaking of stress and problems, I told you before we kind of end with marketing to self, the messages to self to empower and help ourselves during this changing, evolving time. 4th of July is coming up. What are you doing for 4th of July? Anything empowering or is it taking away?
Well, I'm working ER, which honestly, I like working ER. So it'll be fun. And, it's like any holiday. It's either going to be a complete madhouse or it's going to be quiet. It's usually nothing in between. I'm guessing complete madhouse, but we'll deal.
Full moon and a lunar eclipse on this Saturday.
Is it really? Oh, God. I'm in for it.
It's not just a full moon. It's a full moon plus, So I think eclipses are like another full moon times 10, right? So yeah.
So, get on my roller skates because it'll be fun. Woo.
Maybe it'll be intellectually rewarding to you to be helping all those animals and
100%.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, thanks for being here, Cindy. And I think you have a fantastic resource to help many, many people out during this time. So I hope they reach out to you and at least check out the website and maybe do a quick search of the member base and people can reach you through the website, right? If
They can reach me through the website, or email's fine too, Cindy Trice, DVM@mac.com.
Perfect.
But they can find me through the website too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.